So I'm down at Te Horo Beach on the Kapiti Coast, a place that I'm quite familiar with, and I really love this spot. This is one of my favourite beaches on the Kapiti Coast. It's all one coastline, but they have it broken up into segments, and this is Kapiti, this is Te Horo Beach. I'm actually looking for a house sit here on the beach here, and it's funnily enough, this beach is probably one of the most contentious places you could ever come to if you're traveling through the area. And the beachfront itself, where I've camped out a few times on this beachfront, beautiful beach, heaps of driftwood, we can have fires. But the people in the houses along the beachfront, they are so anal about their view that if you actually have a park up your vehicle here in the afternoon with your family or your friends, have a little barbecue, have a little fire, they'll call the fire brigade, and the fire brigade will come down, and they're all local volunteers. And the locals will say, hey, look, the Wellingtonians who own the property on the front, because the people from Te Horo who actually live in Te Horo Beach away from the front street, the street here I'm pointing at where my finger is right now, they actually don't like the people that live in these who come and stay in these houses, because most of them are just like batches, holiday homes. And the people from Wellington who come here, who actually live here and commute from here to Wellington, don't like their view being spoiled by people like me bringing my van to a place like this and having a fire. In fact, last Thursday night I was here having a fire on the beach, beautiful full moon, not disturbing anybody, at the high tide mark, so the water would come in and put my fire out when I left at the high tide. And it has, I've checked, it has put it out. It's been washed away completely, the fire. My little fire pit where I had, it's gone completely, washed away. Someone here called the fire brigade, called the Kapiti Coast Animal and Public Spaces warden to come and tell them there's a fire on the beach. So the warden came down, and I stuck up behind the warden in my van because she was down on the beach with a torch trying to see where I was. I came right up behind her vehicle and full beamed her. And it's like, what are you doing? It's like, oh, someone's lighting a fire on the beach. I was like, yeah, it was me. I was down at the high tide mark, which is actually legal to do it. So what's your problem? What's the big issue here? To which she said, oh, someone had called me up to tell me to come and tell me there's a fire on the beach. That's what I'm dealing with, but I digress. This is a beautiful location, a beautiful spot, a beautiful beach, but some of the people who live here, a little bit anal, shall we say. Just a little. But I still want to live here for a little bit, for the next few months if I can. Find a place, maybe on the beachfront, and just bring some expansiveness and some hard energy to what is quite an anus energy right in the front here, or further back. Find a property I can live at on this beach. So I want to talk about plant medicines and the spirits for plant medicines, and how, in my perception, this came to me about a week ago. I had this moment where I kind of felt like, who was bringing the plant medicine out into the world, and what was behind the idea of bringing that plant medicine? Let me give you an example. Ayahuasca. Taking ayahuasca out of the container of the rainforest, of the jungle of the Amazon rainforest, and taking it out into the world, all over the world. What force is behind that energy and behind that motive and the motivation to get people, men and women, to take that plant medicine, to take that plant and the spirit of that plant out into the world? And I thought to myself, I've written short stories about this with Lord Buford Somerset, about the whole idea that the spirit behind the medicine, behind the plant medicine, behind the actual psychotropic alkaloid itself, and the spirit of a jungle moving through the actual plant, and then wanting to take its own energy out of that container, which is probably a safe place for it to be. Maybe, just maybe, that plant medicine and the spirit of that plant medicine was taken to that rainforest and put into a container where it could safely be contained. And it needed to stay in that container for a reason. Maybe there was an energy behind that spirit medicine, behind that plant medicine, that needed to be contained in a way that it couldn't get out of that container. And maybe in the 21st century and in the 20th century, men and women who have gone to work with the Shipipo people and work with the plant medicines, ayahuasca and other medicines in that rainforest, Amazon rainforest, have been duped by the spirit of that plant medicine to take it out into the world so it can begin to do its work, whatever that work is. You decide. I don't know. The more people that I know that have done ayahuasca, the more neurosis I have seen in people who have done ayahuasca. So many people I know have done so many, like hundreds of experiences with the plant medicine outside of the jungle, outside of the container. And I have to tell you, a lot of them are very neurotic, like almost like they're possessed by something that's come out of the container of that rainforest and is now in the world outside of the container, like it wanted to get out of the container. And people have taken it out into the world and given it the opportunity to spread its tentacles energetically, psychically across the world. Iboga is another example from West Africa. People bringing Iboga out into the West, all over the world, bringing it out. And this is just my idea. I'm questioning. I got no answers here, just questions. Because, you know, when you come to a place like this, where I am in New Zealand, all over the world, you have your own plant medicines growing around you. The spirits have come to a place where they've dropped into the energy of the earth itself, and they're aligned with the energy of the place where you find them. And what's so wrong, in my perception, if you want to choose to take the route of plant medicine, why not use what's in front of you? Like, for example, where I am, in this part of the world, in the last part of the North Island of New Zealand, there's several psychoactive mushrooms that grow here. Some of them native, some of them brought to the country and now considered to be exotic. The native ones, Wiriroa, psilocybe Wiriroa, are little white and blue truffles that grow in the Tararua ranges from about the Ruahinis down to the bottom of the North Island. And they are endemic to, it's the right word, endemic to this part of the country, this part of the world. So why not use those? If you want to get involved with plant medicines, why not use the medicine that's already here? Why would you want to bring ayahuasca over here and take this plant medicine out of its container? It's like taking Wiriroa mushroom to the Shipipo in the Amazon rainforest and say, hey, try this experience, have this experience, see what this spirit does with you. To me, there's so many questions around this, and I see people who actually have done, like I said before, loads of ayahuasca experiences and Iboga experiences, and they're more neurotic now, and their behavior is sort of fragmented or fractured in a way that I have to wonder sometimes. You know, someone who's more sensitive than I am, that could perceive spirits, that could perceive energies, might see attachments on these people. Attachments that may have been only able to access these people with the use of a plant medicine from another part of the world. And this plant medicine from other parts of the world that's made its way onto these shores, onto these islands, maybe, just maybe, it wants to crawl out of its container energetically, and with the entities and the beings that come with that plant medicine, crawl across the world and begin to infest the world, infest people, infest energies, take over the land, the spirits of the land. Is there a war even going on between the energies and spirits of the land itself and these introduced species, once again brought into here, into this land by people? You think about it. You know, before the people who first arrived here, did they bring with them energies and spirits that some were meant to be here and be brought here, others not? And did that create a war in the unseen on this planet, on this territory, on these islands? Did it create a war between the spirits of the land and the spirits of the plants that were already here and the introduced spirits of the plants they brought with them? Was there an unseen battle going on there, or was it a cohesion? I don't know. These are just questions that I'm asking. And my feeling was, when I had this download, that ayahuasca is in the jungle for a reason. It's in that Amazon basin for a reason. As much as Iboga is in West Africa for a reason. And someone told me not long ago that iboga first came from Egypt and was taken to West Africa and hidden away in West Africa. Hidden away there because the tool and the power of the spirit of the actual medicine was so powerful, it needed to be hidden away from people after Egypt fell. After Egypt's civilization and its dynasties all fell, the plant medicine needed to be taken away and hidden somewhere. Now my feeling is when he told me that, so I'm not going to tell you who the man was, but he's been working with iboga for almost 5 years. But my feeling when he told me that was that Atlantis is where ayahuasca, the plants that make up ayahuasca brew, and iboga came from. And the people from Atlantis who survived the breakup of the continent, who left the continent as it was breaking up and before it sank proper, took the plants from ayahuasca that make up the ayahuasca brew and many other psychotropic plants into the Amazon basin. And the civilization that were existing there at the time, they brought those plants into the jungle, and there in that container felt that they were a safe place for that energy to be nurtured and to be held. As much as iboga was taken to West Africa, and then West Africa it was placed in a container as well that was safe. Egypt to West Africa, with the people in West Africa, in a safe container where it could be contained and utilized for the people of the area, but also utilized in a way that was safe for people to come to use the energy, to use the spirit of the plant in a way that didn't leave the area. And now we're taking these plant medicines out into the world. And you can look at it in a positive light. Hey, the planetary consciousness moves through these plant medicines, so wherever they go, it's safe. Or you can look at it in a more balanced way and say, more questions and answers on this one. Is there a force behind the desire to bring out of exotic locations these powerful plant medicines and the spirits that come with these plant medicines to be taken across the world? Is there a more sinister play at work here? I don't know. But the way that I think, sometimes it's like, well, I'm full of questions, more questions than answers. And why wouldn't you, if you want to delve into plant medicines, ingest the plant medicines that are native to the land that you're in at the time? If you want to work with the medicine spirits of a particular location, here, for example, like I said during this video, psilocybe wiriroa grow in the forest up here. Just over here in the Tararua Ranges, the Akatawera Ranges, the Ruahine Ranges, the Mahoi forests. You can find psilocybe wiriroa growing in there. Why wouldn't you want to use that plant medicine to get your answers, to get your revelations, to get your insights? Why do you need to take ayahuasca? To me, it makes no sense, but that's just me. Thanks for watching. I truly appreciate it. Matewa. I'll see you again soon.